Hello friends, welcome to Drays World. If you like seeing old things come back to life, you are in the right place. I've got some updates here from the old abandoned bank of Johnston that I am really looking forward to sharing with you. A few months back, I started a major project, one that I was looking forward to starting and completing when we first walked into this building. I noticed the windows needed completely restored. There's a lot of rotted wood. The window panes were mostly broken out of them. So I was always looking forward to that project, and I got to start it, and it's taking way longer than what I anticipated, but they're turning out really good. They're not done yet. In fact, right here behind me, you can see the window sashes that are in process. I'm gonna do a complete separate video just about the windows. One other part of the project we wanted to get to upstairs, and one of the original parts of the building, one of the only original parts of the building left, are the mantles. And this mantle here and the mantle down the way here are the only two upstairs. They're still probably operational. I can see right up through to the where the roof has covered it. So there's light coming in. It looks pretty good. It doesn't look like there's any damage up there. So we wanted to restore these mantles, bring them back to life. And I'm going to show you part of the process of us beginning the windows and then beginning and finishing this mantle today. Got some other cool things we're working on too. One of those projects is this stairway. The stairway that doesn't exist yet. We've got to build it from scratch. I've got the wood. I think I've got all the wood to do it, but we may have to make a run to the orange store or the blue store, maybe another lumber yard to get some of this wood, but this is going to be a very soon coming project. I can't wait to get that done. The ladder works just fine, but it's just temporary. It especially comes in handy on rainy days. Here's where we're at with the windows. It looks like a little crazy right now, but I assure you that they are almost ready for paint. I'm doing the final touch-ups, putting the bottom parts of the window frame on, and then I'm almost ready for painting these. A couple of final touch-ups as well. I'll talk more about this in detail in the next video about the windows. Now, this mantle on the other side of the room is an identical match to the other mantle. The paint has been chipping off this classic green color. The varnish underneath is preserved because of that old paint. That was a good quality paint that has protected this wood. There's going to be some adjustments that need to be made, just like on the mantle down the way, and I'll show you how that is all done. You see this is all one piece coming away from the wall. We're going to fix all that. Another cool project that we're going to start working on really soon is putting a bed right here on the wall, a Murphy bed. Not this one that's leaning against the wall. This is our old bed. It's ready to be thrown in the trash. Too much dust all over the place. Too much construction stuff going on around here for this thing to be saved. It wasn't that great to begin with, but it served its purpose just fine. It's a pretty comfortable bed. But we're getting a better one. I'll talk all about that in one of the very next videos. It's going to be a really cool one, I think. I got a good plan for what the Murphy bed is going to look like. It's going to save a lot of space up here so we can keep this as wide open as possible. We've had some pretty big changes in our plans. If you remember the permit process video and what the down plans looked like. In fact, I'll remind you. Here's what the down plan for the upstairs looked like. You see where the walls are, the bathroom and the bedroom and lighting and stuff. Some of that is going to stay the same, but most of it's going to change, including the walls. We're going to probably go without putting any walls up here at all and leave it wide open. Here in the area of where the Murphy bed is going to be, I sanded down a little bit of the wood to see what it would look like when we do eventually sand down the entire floor. We've got a lot of fill-in area here where we're going to have to replace the old heart pine floor that was in this spot. What I took out of here is just not going to work for this area. It's too small of boards. It was done as an afterthought in some secondary or third construction remodel over the years. So we've got to replace this with what's here, or to match what's here. And that's hard to find. I did locate a place though. It's a place right here in Johnston. They specialize in reclaimed barn wood. They go all around the country and take down old structures, bring the wood back. They'll buy big truckloads of old wood and they do custom projects with it. I got to tour the place. It was incredible. I took down a sample of our floorboard that I took out of one of these random spots that was too short to use anyway. And they ran it through the planer, and this is what it looks like. There's no stain on here. It's not natural. I did put linseed oil on it. It's a 50-50 mix of linseed oil and turpentine. So that's what made this soak into the wood. It's going to protect the wood. We may use this on the entire floor, but I wanted to see what it would look like because I'm doing that to protect the wood on the windows before I paint them. So I just used this test piece to see what it would look like, and man, that turned out beautiful, didn't it? Can you imagine the whole floor looking like that and being wide open? Because I can, and that's what we're going for, and hopefully by the end of the year, you get to see that video too. The floor repair is going to be pretty extensive. It's not only this 4x8 section, it also extends back here to where you see the green tape. That's each board where it was going to have to be cut so it blends in. And that is also on this side, so you won't just see a square cut replaced piece of floor. It's going to be blended in. That also includes this area underneath these two back windows that was severely damaged by water, not only the windows, but the floor and the joists underneath. We replaced those a couple months ago, thanks to my friend Brian and Paul coming to help with that very big project. But we've got to replace all the wood now. And replacing all this floorboard is not cheap. It's not your typical board. You can't find this anymore. There's no mill that's going to make this for you brand new. You got to find old reclaimed wood for this. This is heart pine. It's hard to come by. And that's why it's $15 a linear foot for this. And we need 315 feet of this exact board. Well, we could replace it with something else, but it would look different. And the grain is so beautiful in this. Anything other than this is going to really stand out. You'll see where these repairs were. And especially here in the middle of the floor, we don't want that. So we're going to do our best to salvage the wood that we already have here in the building, have it milled or mill it ourselves, and then turn it into this. I might have to take it down to the place locally and have them put the tongue and groove in because they have the machine to do that, and it would be very fast for them. My router would probably struggle with all this, but we'll see. I'm going to try to do all of it or all of it myself. So we'll see what we come up with. If we need to reach out for help, they have offered to help in any way they can. In fact, the people from the local sawmill have come out to the building. They checked it all out and really liked the work that was being done here. And they love this floor and that we are taking the time and effort to replace it the way it is. So that's what we're looking at. This is going to take a little bit of resourcing. This is definitely not in the budget to spend $4,700 on floorboards just to patch this stuff up. That's a very expensive job, and I think that we can source it ourselves. Another small success in this area were these two hanging chairs. We got them at Aldi's, the grocery store. They were 20 bucks a piece. So I just bolted them into a pretty sturdy structure up there that I can move and take down if I want to. But they've been really comfortable to hang out up here, especially with the breeze coming through this old broken out window pane. Our living area up here is coming together. It looks a little crazy if this is the first time you're seeing it. This chair that looks like it's out of a ghost house covered up with a old sheet. It's actually a very nice chair. And these hanging chairs. This is a really nice place for us to hang out. It's peaceful. The window is another project that we will be tackling real soon. These windows are all going to get done in that next video where I show you kind of through the whole process of what it's taken to get all this done. I've saved this window right over here so you can see the entire process start to finish. We're going to time it so we can see exactly how long it takes to restore one of these old 130-year-old windows. I haven't even touched that frame. It's got the dirt on it from the day that we walked into this building. I haven't vacuumed it, nothing. So we're going to start from scratch. I hope you enjoy that video. I'm going to show you some of that detail on these other windows, but this one's going to be special. it looks terrible right now. So we're gonna make it look brand new again. And that goes for this window as well. That'll be for last. I've got a special plan for that window. You might be saying to yourself, there's no way this guy is gonna finish all this stuff by the end of the year. Well, that is a possibility. And the word on the street is that nothing's getting done in this building because all the windows have been boarded up the whole time and no one could see anything really getting done. So I'm here to change that, and I do have a goal of finishing all these things by the end of this year. We want to move into this place by like November. That would be really cool to have this as a living space by that time. But I'm going to give myself one more month to the end of the year to complete everything up here. I think it's possible. And one other thing I'm going to commit to is to put a video out every single week from now until the end of the year. Maybe further, I don't know, maybe twice a week. It just depends, but I'm going to commit to one time a week because I know that you want to see updates from this space and see what's going on in the building. People ask me about it when they see me out and about. Hey, what's going on? You still working on the building? Yes, we're very much working on the building. This is my full-time job. So we're trying really hard to get this complete. Sarah is helping in the background, but she has other obligations and responsibilities to do. So it's mostly me working on this project. We are going to get this done. And hopefully, at least the upstairs, not the whole building and not all the details, but we're hopefully going to get most all of this upstairs done by the end of the year. Another thing that I want to have your input on, friends, is about these videos. Do you want to see more of this type of video? Do you want to see all about the building, only construction stuff, only about the abandoned bank, or do you want to see some other stuff too? Because before I started on this project, I made videos about all sorts of things: haunted locations, abandoned places, famous people's graves. I've got footage of a lot of these things that Sarah and I have adventured to over the last couple of years. And I haven't put those out on this channel because it seems like everybody wants to see the construction of the old abandoned bank. And I understand that. But I also really love making videos about these other topics too. I think it's so fun to find an abandoned building and check it out, like we did here and eventually bought it. So friends, let me know about that in the comments, will you? I appreciate your input. So this is important to me to know what you would like to see. It's time to get this mantle started. What began as a side project during a rainstorm turned into a longer process than I anticipated. But it's worth the few extra hours to see one of the original features of this building come back to life. This mantle's 137 years old, so I'm going to take my time and make sure this becomes something the original builders would be proud of. And at the same time, give us a sense of progress every time we see it in this space. To my knowledge, this fireplace and surround, the mantle, is original to the building. I already began by scraping all the paint off, which was very satisfying, and sanding it with an 80 grit sandpaper. Then I'll move down to a 120. But I noticed that there's a couple imperfections in this mantle. Hopefully you can hear me over the sound of the church bells ringing, which is very pleasant, I find. But here we see the mantle is not quite level. I don't know if you can really tell by camera. You probably can. It's not a 90 degrees, so I'm going to have to raise this up, which means I'm going to have to take this trim off, which I've already started doing. After removing the paint, I noticed that there's this big gap between the trim, these two trim pieces here. I tried to knock this piece down, but it turns out it makes another gap up here. So I'm going to remove this piece of trim and just replace it. And when I say replace, I mean replace, putting the exact piece just tighter so it fits perfectly like that. I started doing this because it was raining outside, and I thought, well, I won't have to open up the windows and get water everywhere, but that didn't really happen. Water still got in here, and I feel like I'm a couple days behind on the window project. This is kind of holding me up, but I'm gonna be happy when this is done. At least I'll know what I'm getting myself into on the other one, and it'll be a nice thing to look at. It'll be a sign of progress when you come up here and look at this place. Came out pretty nicely. I put the last little bit of epoxy to fill in a couple of little holes and some chips on the edge of the mantle piece here. Before we paint, I'm gonna sand that down. It only takes about 20 minutes, probably less than that, but I'll give it a little bit of time to dry, and then I'm gonna sand it down. In the meantime, I'm gonna clean this area up. It's been blackened by years of charcoal burning. This is a shallow fireplace, which means it was used as a charcoal burning fireplace. We're gonna turn it into a gas fireplace. It's gonna look great, but after we clean it and do some mortar repair, I'm gonna clean it with this TSP. It's phosphate-free TSP. Still gonna use some protective gloves. That's gonna be mainly for this surface, and then I'm gonna use muriatic acid mixed with a little bit of water to clean the bricks and prepare that for some mortar work in here, some repointing and filling it in. It's just making it a nice looking area for when you first walk in the door. I think this is gonna look really good when it's all complete. Wow, came right off. Wow. That really cleaned it up. Crazy. Something I learned from my chemistry teacher in high school, Mr. Roberts, was always add acid. So I've already put a little water in there. I'm not going to use much of this muriatic acid. That'll be fine. Be careful with this stuff if you ever use it. It cleans bricks really well. Cleans anything carbon-based, really just dissolves it, including your skin. This is not what I expected for this to come this clean. I really like it. Oh, I had to rinse off my arm. I got a little splatter of the acid. It ran down, hit my arm. You can feel it burning. It's not gonna you can feel it coming on. I do have a hose right outside the window next to me, just in case get some in my eye or something, but it's diluted enough, it's not gonna do a lot of damage to you. You can use this straight, muriatic acid, but I always dilute it. I've never found a reason that I have to use something that strong. Takes this black soot off of everything almost instantly. Turns it back to white. I found that you do have to wipe off the residue while it's wet. You can't let it dry. It easily comes back off if you get it wet again with the acid, but it will stay on there and just re-stain. You're just kind of moving the stuff around, so you have to remove it with a towel or a rag. Now before there was a lot of chips in this edge, and now you can't see them at all. The way that I did that was I put the epoxy on and I pulled it like this away from the edge, both directions. It doesn't really matter which way you go, but pull it kind of downward and against the edge, and it will fill in those gaps. And even if there's imperfections, when it's wet, when it dries, you'll be able to sand it down exactly where you want it. This epoxy is very strong. I mean, it's looking really good. I think I'm gonna have to do one more pass through with epoxy just to make it perfect, but it looks maybe better than the day that it was installed. Wow. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the good stuff. The paint I'm going to be using begins with 2 coats of this Extreme blocking primer and will be top coated with 2 coats of Emerald semi-gloss urethane trim enamel. Both of these products are from Sherwin-Williams. Okay, it's the first bit of paint going on anything upstairs here. That looks so good. It's gonna look better. To get the best results, I'm lightly hand sanding between each of the 4 coats with a 120 grit sandpaper. This smooths out the brush strokes and gives each coat the best chance of adhering to the surface of the wood. Finally, the preparation is complete and it's time to apply the top coat. That's it, friends. The mantle is complete. All the chips are gone out of the edge, and there's no little divots where things have fallen onto it over the years. It's looking really nice. The brick base here looks really cool. I like the old paint chips that are still stuck on there, leave some character. I am going to fill in along the edges with some mortar and make this a safe place to install a gas fireplace eventually. I also like the way that the brick cleaned up in the back. I'm not really sure if we should put plaster through this area, but maybe, I don't know. What do you all think? Would you plaster this or leave it just the way it is? Which sure is nice to have one thing that you can walk in and see totally complete. It gives you a sense of movement forward. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. Some might say, why didn't you keep the chips in there and leave the character? Well, the builder of this building and the person that designed and made this mantle intended for it to look exactly like this. And I think that if I were to make something like this, I'd hope that in 100 years or 130 years, somebody would come back through and say, you know, those were accidental things on there. This is a feature piece. I'm gonna make that creator proud and refinish and bring back to life something that was old and forgotten about. So that's not for every single thing. I mean, there's some things that you don't want to completely restore because it looks cooler that way. Patinas on old trucks, some old coins, you know, it's better to leave some things untouched, not this mantle. Thank you for joining me here today, friends. I appreciate your company on the beginning of the window restoration process, the start and completion of this mantle restoration, and a foresight into some of the things that we're going to be working on very soon. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you do want to see videos about other things other than this building, and let me know what you think about these projects. Is there something that you want to see more detail on? What would you like to see? Because I can control that sort of thing. Thanks for joining me today, friends. I really appreciate your company. I'll see you in the next video, or you'll see me. I might see you sometime.